In the next 90 days, I'm going to show you how to crush Q4 and completely transform your life. If you've been feeling stuck, disappointed, or just like you haven't been following through on your goals this year, don't worry, it's not too late. You can still finish the year stronger than ever. In this video, I'm sharing my 90-day game plan to help you reset, refocus, and make the most out of these last 3 months. So let's do this together. First, we'll break down steps you can start applying right now to get your life back on track. For those of you who like a little bit more structure, at the end, I'll share a suggested 90-day timeline to help you stay focused and on pace. Feel free to skip around with the timestamps if you'd like to save a little bit more time. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Step 1 is to reflect and reset. Start by conducting a life audit. Take a deep dive into all areas of your life, whether it's health, career, finance, relationships, etc. Ask yourself questions like, does my life right now reflect what I truly want? With this reflection, journaling or a life audit worksheet can help give you clarity. After the life audit, look back on the year. Think about things that worked, things that didn't, and what lessons you've learned. Pinpoint the areas of your life that you want to focus on for the next 90 days, whether it's getting back on your fitness or advancing your career. Next, you're going to want to check back on old goals. Revisit the goals that you set in the beginning of the year. Are these goals still aligned with your current values and desires, or do they need to be adjusted? 9 times out of 10, if you set a goal and you forgot about it, it's probably not as important anymore. And most importantly, let go of what isn't working. Let go of any past habits or failures that are holding you back. When entering this new quarter, we're going to mentally reset and start fresh. So now that we've reset and done a reflection, it's time to move on to step 2, setting clear and specific goals. You're going to want to start by defining 1 to 3 goals. When it comes to setting goals, less is more. Focus on no more than 3 major goals for Q4, because the more you try to do, the more you'll overwhelm yourself and get sidetracked. You're also going to want to make sure these goals are SMART goals. If you're unfamiliar with SMART, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, if you're someone whose goal is to improve your fitness, instead of setting the goal of, I want to lose weight, to turn that into a SMART goal, you would say something along the lines of, I want to lose 5 pounds by November 15th. Now that goal is SMART because it's specific, you want to lose 5 pounds instead of, I just want to lose weight. It's measurable because you're able to keep track of your weight on a scale. It's achievable because it's reasonable for somebody to lose 5 pounds within 2 months. It's relevant because it relates to improving your health. And it's time bound because you're giving yourself the deadline of November 15th. So once you have your major 1 to 3 goals, now it's time to break down those goals. Break these goals down into smaller actionable steps or milestones that can be achieved weekly or monthly. For example, talking about our fitness goal from earlier, breaking it down could look like setting workout schedules, nutrition plans, and tracking your progress. Another huge tip and one of my favorites to actually achieving things I want to achieve is time blocking. By using a planner or whatever tool you like to actually block out time for these goals, it helps ensure that you're committed to the transformation. For example, one of my quarterly goals for last quarter was to read 5 books, and I actually ended up hitting this goal because in my morning routines I time block 30 minutes every morning to read a book. So even if throughout the day I forgot to read or I didn't have time to read, I still achieved my goal because I set out time in my routine to get it done. So now that you have your major 1 to 3 quarterly goals set, it's time to move on to the next step, building the winning habits. When it comes to building new habits, you definitely want to start small. Focus on building a few small habits that align with your goals. For example, with my reading goal, rather than setting out to be like, oh, I'm gonna read 5 chapters a day, I set the small goal of reading for 30 minutes a day, or I could have set a goal of reading at least 5 pages a day. Another way to build new habits that actually stick is to stack them. Habit stacking is a concept where you tie old habits to existing ones. It basically follows the formula of, when I do current habit, I will do new habit. For example, someone who's a big coffee drinker who also has the goal of working on self-improvement, they might set the habit of, when I sit down and drink my morning coffee, I'm gonna listen to an educational podcast. Habit stacking definitely worked for me personally when trying to implement new habits. For example, I used to use a water pick because I was too lazy to use the string floss, but I wanted to get into that. And I love watching YouTube videos or just videos in general when I'm getting ready. So what I started doing was flossing while watching videos. So now my brain knows when we sit down and turn on this YouTube, it's time to floss and get it over with. One major thing to remember when starting new habits is consistency over perfection. Consistency is what really drives results, and it's okay to slip up every now and then as long as you get back on track. I like to follow the 2x rule, where basically you don't skip whatever it is that you're supposed to do for no more than 2 days in a row. So once you fall off for that one day, you need to get back on track by tomorrow. For those of you who need a little bit more help, you could definitely implement like habit trackers or checklists to help you stay motivated. My favorite ones are the ones that show the percentages once you check them off, because then you can see when you're really slipping up. It keeps you in check. So now that we've reflected and resetted, set the goals, and built the winning habits, now it's time to move on to step 4, which is tracking your progress and adjusting. Over the course of the quarter, you're going to want to do weekly check-ins and evaluate your progress. You're going to want to think to yourself, am I hitting my goals? And if not, why? And what can be adjusted? And if things do need to be adjusted, it's okay because life happens, so goals and milestones might have to be tweaked. So during this process, try not to get too discouraged and to shift your approach if things aren't working. It's also very important important to celebrate your small wins because this is what's going to keep you motivated. For example, I've seen people set fitness goals where every time they hit a milestone, they give themselves a little treat. And if you're someone who struggles with commitment and you're noticing that your progress is not where it's supposed to be, you can get yourself an accountability partner or start sharing your progress on social media to help yourself stay committed. So now that you've tracked your progress and it's been some time, now we can move on to step 5, which is evaluating and refining. If you've been seeing progress, then keep going and keep up with what you've been doing. And if not, then it's time to think about what can be adjusted. You're using this time to make your final adjustments for the quarter. Whether or not you need to pivot or keep pushing, double down on it so we can refine our strategy for the end of the year. We're using this as a checkpoint to regain motivation and finish strong. So now that you've made it this far, congrats. It's time to move on to the final step of finishing strong and setting up for the next phase. During these last final weeks, you're going to want to double down and start putting extra effort into finishing these goals. You can also take the time to start planning for the future and thinking about the next year. You're going to want to think to yourself, how can I carry this momentum with me into the new year? Start reflecting on your growth and acknowledging how far you've come. Now you can celebrate the transformation and know that you set yourself up for continued success. So we have the process outlined with actionable steps, but one thing you want to keep in mind throughout is emphasizing mindset and self-care. Having a strong mindset is key. So to help you stay grounded and positive, you can start implementing daily practices like affirmations and meditation. You also want to ensure you're implementing self-care rituals. You need to be taking care of yourself mentally and physically. Overworking yourself definitely leads to burnout, so rest and relaxation are essential. So to crush Q4, you can definitely adapt this plan to your own pace, but here's how someone might break it down over the next 3 months. During week 1, you'll be reflecting and auditing. Weeks 1 to 2 can be used for goal setting as well. Weeks 2 to 3, you'll start building your habits. Weeks 3 to 6, you'll be tracking your progress and adjust if needed. Weeks 6 to 9, you'll evaluate and refine your strategy. And weeks 10 to 12, you're finishing strong. So that is it for today's video. I hope you're feeling very inspired and ready to crush Q4. Whether you're following the steps at your own pace or sticking to the weekly plan, the key is to stay consistent and keep pushing forward. Let me know in the comments what's one goal you're going to focus on for the next 90 days so we can hold each other accountable. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you can see more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.